Welcome to a few thoughts on creating connection circles. There are, well, it seems as though there are times when the presentation of a number of set of influences between things using causal loop diagrams, for one reason or another, is expected to be less than readily accepted by the audience. And there is an alternative referred to as connection circles. It connection circle is an approach to showing a relationship between a number of entities, which I first ran into at the Waters Foundation Systems Thinking in Schools project. And essentially it entails creating a circle and then around the circle placing all of the entities that are related one way or another in the situation that's being investigated or one is endeavoring to understand, and then connecting between those entities or drawing relationships inside the circle in order to depict the relationships between those entities. And the extent to which one does that sort of depends upon what one is trying to accomplish. In this particular instance, they have added a depth or a darker line to show an emphasis. If you look at these two basic loops that I showed initially, this being the standard reinforcing loop and this being the standard balancing loop, translating those two structures into connection circles would cause them to look like this, where the principal interacts with the interest to create interest in the interest that then adds to the principal and results in growth. And in this one, it's the balancing loop where the difference between the current state and the goal influences action, which then tends to move the current state in the direction of the goal. So to develop these in Insight Maker is relatively straightforward. There are a number of different ways that one can do this. If I simply start with a picture and tell it that I really don't want an image, and then tell it to make the center transparent, then I have a circle or an oval, depending upon how I change this thing. I can then go ahead and create pictures and call it a bank and call it money, call it deposit, and I can then go ahead and go to Google or somewhere and look for an image and get an image of a bank. Oops, loading. Just a minute. Doesn't look like a bank. Oh, it's all right. So sometimes the images that you click on don't turn out to be the ones that they look like they are in Google. So I'll just go ahead and paste that image back in here. So I have a picture of a bank, and here I'll go look for some money. Easier to find money here in images than it is as an everyday occurrence. But let me go ahead and copy this image URL and stick this back in here for that image, and I now have a deposit into the bank, and I can then go ahead and simply draw a connection from there to there and hold the shift key and put a couple of nodes on it. And depending upon whether I just want to show the connections or whether or not I in fact want to use conventions more in line with creating causal loop diagrams, I can in fact make this a positive influence, and I could actually create a plus sign with the text tool, make this smaller, and simply put the plus sign on there, and I could make that blue also. So you can just continue to do this on the inside of the circle to the extent that you need to depict what you're trying to show. And in the current issue of the Exchange, from the Creative Learning Exchange, in their spring edition, they actually took the story, Dr. Seuss story of the Lorax, and developed a connection circle relationship for the elements of that story, so that they talked about factory size and cutting trees and profits and those elements. And once they did that, they started to draw the influences, and notice that on this particular diagram they put here the minus sign to say that trees cut actually reduces the number of trees, and the needs produced adds to the profits. And they continued to develop that, and you can read the story here, because this will be linked into the focus page for this video. So they end up with a connection circle which shows the relationships between the various entities that are part of this story for the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. So take a look at connection circles. There may in fact be situations where you would want to use a connection circle as opposed to a causal loop diagram, either with a group because you're developing the influences for a particular situation, or you have a particular situation where you want to present the implications of the elements that are part of that interaction. So hope this has been informative. Take care. Bye.